How to take away king safety from your opponent in chess. And yes, we got a game as the white pieces, Simeon Furman against Boris Spassky. And yes, this game was in 1972. And yes, we're going to see Boris Spassky demolish their opponent in chess. So the game started off with the move knight f3, c5. After c5, we got c4, g6, and then e4. After e4, we got bishop g7, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and then after knight takes d4, we have knight c6, threatening this knight with two pieces. So the two pieces that we're threatening this knight with is with this knight on c6 and this bishop on g7, and we kind of got some Maroczy bond structure since we have an e4 push and a c4 push, both pretty much having a bind on black's position. And after knight c6, we get bishop e3, protecting this knight. So if you want to capture, you can, but my queen is going to stay on d4, attacking this h8 rook. Let's see if that happens or not. After bishop e3, we got knight h6, weird move, but is very common in these type of positions. Probably d6, knight g4, or f6, knight f7, and so on. After knight h6, we got the move knight c3, castle kingside, and then bishop e2, and then the fascinating move f5. If white captures this pawn, then maybe this knight will be coming back in the game with knight captures on f5. But let's see what happens next. After the move f5, white wasn't playing no game, so he was like, yeah, I will take it. What you gonna do about it? And after e captures on f5, we got the move that black was waiting for, which is bishop captures on d4. Well, it's going to happen after bishop captures d4. We got bishop captures d4, and then knight captures on f5, threatening this bishop on the d4 square. After knight captures on f5, we got bishop c5, d6, threatening this bishop again, and then we have the move bishop a3, and this bishop is in the corner, not doing nothing, especially after the move knight f d4. Now, this position is changing a little bit for white's favor, especially we got this rook on the f-file attacking this f2 pawn. We got this knight in the center attacking this e2 bishop. This bishop is going to be out pretty soon, probably to go to the f5 square to threaten to get this knight to check on the c2 square. And we have two pawns in the center, so this is going pretty well. Boris Spassky pretty much defended their position very easily, especially with the move going to knight h6, knight f5, into d4 eventually. Now, after knight f d4 was played, white was like, I'm just going to castle. Why not? And then black was like, I'm going to do bishop f5. After bishop f5 was played, we got rook c1 defending the c2 square, and then the regular move queen d7 to get all the pieces developed in the position. After queen d7, we got knight d5, rook f7 to get a battery set up on the f file, and after rook f7, b3, rook a f8, and now each one of black's pieces are developed and ready to attack the opponent anytime soon. I'm pretty sure in this position, Boris Spassky was just thinking about, how can I attack my opponent now, since white's pieces are discoordinated and my pieces are pretty good. Like black could do e6, e5, actually e6 first to kick out the knight, then e5. This knight can come into the center. This knight can capture this e2 bishop and then bring this other knight into the game. This bishop can move anytime soon, probably go to bishop e4, attacking this f2 pawn, threatening this knight in this g2 square, probably bring this, it's a lot of things that black can do, a lot of ideas to make white blunder, and then take opportunity of the blunder that white does in this position. And now the only weird part is that the computer is on white's side. They're giving white a 1-point advantage, even though this isn't like a really easy position to be playing out. After bishop b2, attacking this knight, threatening to capture it twice with the bishop and queen, we got the move e5 being played. After e5, b4, major inaccuracy, probably planning on pushing up to b5, kicking out this knight to capture this knight and have an extra pawn at the end. But let's see what happens next. Because the right move was going queen d2, but hey, this is human play. No computers are allowed on this channel. After b4 was played, we got the move bishop e6 happening on the board, threatening this knight. And then bishop d3 was played, which is a mistake in the position. The best move was actually going to knight e3, avoiding the capture of the d5 knight. Now, let's see what's next. After that, we got bishop g4, threatening the queen on d1. And plus the queen is protecting the bishop on g4, so the queen can't just take the g4 bishop right now. And after f3, which is kind of area, you don't want to move pawns in front of your king because they just become weaknesses. And these sacrifices can happen very easily. After f3 was played, and now the computer is on black's side because of these moves that was played after the move b4. f3, bishop takes f3. What is going on here? Did you really think that a sacrifice was going to happen right here on the f3 square after I called it? So after the bishop took on f3, we got g takes f3. And after g takes f3, we got knight takes f3, king h1, queen h3. Weird position, and then the massive blunder, because even in this position, let me just double check, but even in this position, it wasn't totally losing. But after the move, rook f2, you're going to have to figure out what is the best move in this position, because this move is pretty insane to find. And this is for black. To make your opponent resign in one move, what is the move that you will be looking for? Well, if you haven't found it yet, it's the move knight to e1. What is going on here after knight to e1? Well, let's go over all the variations that could happen in all of black's responses. If this rook captures this rook on f7, then we have queen g2 checkmate. If this rook moves anywhere on the second rank, then we have queen f1 checkmate. If this queen captures this knight on e1, then this rook captures on f2, and black has a rook on the second rank, which is going to be threatening this checkmate on h2, and that is just a bad position to be in. And the best move for white to do is just giving away pieces. Knight f6, and then black just captures this piece on f6. And they're even suggesting, since there's a checkmate in 7 moves, just doing queen h5, giving away all your pieces, because this is completely lost. So look at all your sacrifices, and please learn from Boris Spassky on how to rip away all the pieces from your opponent's king side. Make sure that they have no king safety in sight, like minus king safety in sight. There should be no king safety, especially if you have center control, space, pawn structure. It will still equal, and just plus development, and then just sacrifice material. That's what you want to do. And once you get into this habit of doing this and finding these moves, you will become a great player, especially defeating somebody like Magnus Carlsen.